starts with water. And you can see that right here, I have a distiller. Now, we're going to have a little debate about that probably a little later, because these guys who believe in the same things I believe in terms of, making sure that your water is clean, do it a little differently. It doesn't really matter. We both have the same concept of you must clean the water if you want the water to be clean. The water is the second most important thing in your life. So it shouldn't be the means for bringing on a greater toxicity. It should be the means for cleansing toxicity. And we've chosen this because this replicates nature's process. And I'm going to show you what's in water, but I'm going to go right to this to start. Nature's process is, visual aids are important, but basically evaporation leading to condensation, leading to rain, right? So basically, I know that's shining in your eyes, sorry about that, okay? Basically what we do is we have the oceans and the lakes being hit by the sun and evaporating into the sky, reaching a saturated level, coming back down as clean water, because the things that are toxic, not all of them, but some of them, and most of them, which are heavy metals, cannot evaporate. And the reason I know that, if I can find it, here we go, is this is what comes out of our distiller after just a couple of weeks of distillation. And it will be in this boiling chamber as well. This is our boiling chamber, and what we're doing is boiling water here, which means we're accelerating the evaporation process. The vapor or gas is running through coils, and you can hear a fan. So we're blowing air through those coils to recondense the water, and that's what's coming down over here. It's similar to what you would see if you get out of a hot shower in the morning this time of year. You'll see water dripping down the mirror. Basically, the water travels through the air from your shower as a gas, hit the cold glass of the mirror, and recondense. So this is what comes out of our distiller after just a couple of days, and I'm going to pass it around, or anybody can look at this. But this is pretty amazing because it's multiple colored. It's water soluble. It was in the water before you started to boil it. You hold it up and it's clear. You can pulverize it and reintroduce it to water because it is water soluble, and so increase the level of whatever this was in the water. And then you can pull out a cadmium, a mercury, or a lead test and test positive for all three, not just here in Port Washington, but almost everywhere in the country that we've been. Now, we haven't been everywhere, so I'm not going to say that this is the way it is everywhere because I can't make that kind of a statement. But I can tell you that we do travel a lot, including up into the mountains, and everywhere we go, people always swear their water's the best. Everyone's got the best water. I love New York City's water because everyone says New York City's water is great. New York City has the best water. They forget the last three words of that sentence, for a city, right? It has to be, a little bit better than other cities for them to make that, but it's not good water. I wouldn't drink New York City water. I wouldn't even bathe in New York City water without a shower filter. But it is better than other cities. I've certainly been in other cities where you can smell it from a mile away, and New York City is certainly a little bit cleaner. So we do this. Well, maybe I should say I, because I don't think that I should drag Charlene into this, but I'm definitely a maniac. And what I've decided is that we need clean water in our lives. This is a dissolved solid meter. It measures the amount of total dissolved solids in the water, shoots electrons in. And what I've just done is pulled this water from the tap in the kitchen here, and I'm going to show you mathematically what this represents, if it's working. And I'm going to let Doug read it for everybody because it's going to be hard to see, but if you could.
Did I bring my glasses?
No glasses?
141?
So that's 141 parts per million dissolved solids. The question is, what are they? Surely some of them are positive, some of them are minerals. But the question is, are they all minerals? And if I have to get cadmium, mercury, and lead in my body in order to gain access to those minerals, I view that as a negative. So this is about a bunch of maybes. The question is, do we have a maybe here as far as the water? Is there maybe a toxicity that we shouldn't be coming in contact with tap water? This is the distilled water that just came out of this distiller. And I did contaminate this cup a little bit earlier, but by dipping that into that, but Doug's going to give us another read here.
It's 4, 2.
It's 2. So we went from the 141 to 2, and it should be 0, right? It should be 0, okay? So that means that I either contaminated the water in this cup by going from there to there, or maybe this needs a cleaning. This is the thing that we travel around the country with, and it has not been cleaned in a while, so my guess is we might need a cleaning. But still, it's a pretty dramatic difference, 141 down to 2. So if it was laden with heavy metals, we have a lot less of those heavy metals after distillation. Now, there are also some other things that can escape. There are chemicals that can actually vaporize, right? That's one of the things we've talked about. The one thing about this manufacturer is there's a built-in valve that addresses that issue. And don't think that I'm trying to sell this to you because I happen to push this, but I don't gain anything monetarily. But these guys do it right. And they have built in a valve that allows those gases to escape because those gases are lighter than water vapor. Water vapor is very heavy gas, these are lighter. They're the volatile chemicals that are found in. And the funny thing about chemicals is that there's so many of them that you can't even keep count of them. I got in touch with the state and downloaded some material from the state, and they hid this stuff. And one lady showed me how to weave through their website to find this stuff, and the list was dramatic. Just things I'd never heard of that were in various water tests, all done all over the state, including upstate and mountains. So our community here publishes a newsletter once every year, and they talk in very vague terms about, well, we're in the top 30% in terms of this amount of contamination in the water. Well, to me that means, well, yeah, you're better than 70% of the country, but is it good? And I understand the dilemma. It's expensive. They can't, for them to do this, they couldn't do it. The financial aspect of it would not allow for it, which means that it's now up to us to clean our water. And now the thing that you always hear about just distilled water is it's dead water because it has no minerals in it. So the question is, do you need to get minerals from water? And the answer is maybe. So what can you do about it? Well, what you can do is, and of course I didn't take them out, but you can, I was going to ask you to find this for me. Okay? You can add trace mineral drops, which are 100% minerals. And what I'm going to do is put them into the same distilled water that we just measured at 2 parts per million. These aren't cooperating. There we go. 2 drops. And now I'm going to test it. And where are we?
126.
Right, so with just 2 drops of trace mineral drops, we almost came back up to whatever the dissolved solid content was before we started. And basically, we know now that the water is 100% clean because we cleaned it. We're not thinking it might be clean. We're sure, 100% clean, and we added the minerals to the water, so now we have mineralized water. I think that's a smart way to go. So we remineralize. But there's a possible negative to distilled water if you don't. And I don't know that it's true or not, but theoretically, trace minerals that are not present in water, okay, if water is completely devoid of all minerals, it becomes magnetic and potentially can draw things out of your body. Now, on the positive side, drawing things out of your body could be good, right? Cleansing your body of toxicity. On the negative side, if it also takes some of the things that are present in your body that you need, like electrolytes, then you would probably think about maybe remineralizing once or twice a day just to make sure. So we drink distilled water without the minerals most of the time, and then we always go to these once or twice a day.